Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I guess another like advice question here to ask, like what is one thing people need to understand about fermentation safety before they start experimenting?
Um, I think cleanliness is like probably the biggest thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean like sanitizer, although if you are like a home brewer and you have access to sanitizer, it doesn't hurt to sanitize everything that comes in contact with your fermentation. So the fermenter, if you're using spoons and stuff like that, that is always helpful. But just being clean, using clean, cleaning your fermenter with even if it's soap and water, if you're just using making like ginger beer, for example. And also cleaning the thing that you're getting the yeast from. So with ginger beer, I always emphasize like wash the ginger first because you don't know what's on the outside of the ginger. It's gone through the grocery store and touched who knows how many hands and stuff like that. So make sure you wash it first. There's still going to be plenty of yeast and bacteria on the inside and on the skins and stuff like that. You just want to get the bad stuff out of the way because the bad stuff is what's going to lead to like weird fermentations where you're getting mold or you're getting unique yeast strains like bacteria that does weird things that you don't want. So you want to get the good lactobacillus and that usually will survive, or at least there'll be plenty enough in like whatever you're using to power the fermentation.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was always kind of curious why people watch the ginger, but that does make sense because again, like you said, you have no idea who has handled that
Yeah,
ginger
I
at
mean,
the
I've
end of the day.
I, I've
So
I've forgotten to do it. I've skipped it, and then it'll I'll get like a nice white frothy, get little fuzzies on top. And you're like, you just got to start over. I just luckily ginger's not too expensive, but
no,
might
it's
as
not
well.
at all. Yeah, it's not. Oh, so I have a question. That's kind of popped in my head. So have you ever tried to take your tapache and mix it with like the ginger beer and see what you come up with that?
Well, I haven't done that. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I've not tried that. What I have done is I did a dragon fruit tapache. So I
Okay.
did dragon fruit and pineapple, and that turned out really good. That was
That
like a
sounds good. Yeah.
pink, and then it was like had that dragon fruit flavor. That was
Yeah.
great. But I haven't
Oh,
tried ginger bug. That'd be a cool idea.
it'd be kind of interesting because like, I know gingerbread one has a nice little heat, spicy nose to it, and everything
Yeah.
like that. And I've never had tabache, but I'm trying to imagine what you said. Like, you have like the pineapple peel, then the brown sugar. So I'm just trying to
Mhm.
imagine like those kind of flavors. I'm sure it's not
It would
super
work great.
sweet, but it's maybe a little on the sweeter side. So it may mellow the ginger beer, but still have that little bite to it. I don't know. Sounds neat to me,
Yeah,
anyways.
I think those would work great together. That you should do it. You should
There you go. I'll do
post
it.
on your
I'll do both at once. I don't know fail
Okay.
at the same time. So I guess we're kind of talking about recipes right now. So let's kind of get into like some of your like recipe development that you kind of like to go through. So are you
Yeah.
using like notes or spreadsheets or software to kind of keep track as you're developing stuff, or do you kind of write it on paper and then transfer it to something later on?
I usually start on paper. I just have like a notebook that I'll write little things on, and then I use Brewfather
Okay,
to kind of
that's a good one.
write
Yeah.
my recipes. And during my research process, I'm looking at what are other people if it's a specific beer style, I'm looking at how are other people making this beer style. What's the recipe in BYO or Zymergy or things like that. I'm looking at those recipes to kind of like figuring out, do I want to copy somebody straight up or do I want to pull aspects from each of them and kind of build out the recipe. And I love in Brewfather, it tells you, you can select the style and then like, are you in the right range for all these things? And so I usually go that way about it. But it's usually it starts with an inspiration of some kind, either a beer that I've tried that I really want to try replicating, or something I've never tried that I want to try for the first time, or if it's just like weird flavors that I want to mix together. Something is usually sparks the inspiration for that.